I'm 33, almost 34, and for the last decade, I thought I just hadn't found my passion yet. I jumped between hobbies, side hustles, different career ideas, convinced that the next one would finally click. And every single time, the same thing happened. I'd get excited for about 2 weeks, hit a wall, and then convince myself that it wasn't it. It wasn't my thing. I needed to keep looking. Turns out I wasn't passionless. I was just bored, and I finally understand the difference. Now here's the problem with that. If you keep mistaking boredom for a lack of passion, you'll quit everything before it even has a chance to become meaningful. And that cycle, that's the thing keeping you broke, stuck, and convinced that something is wrong with you. Before I jump into why that happens, let me show you what the cycle actually looks like, because it's very obvious once you see it. Step 1. You discover something new. A business idea, a side hustle, a creative project, maybe even a career change. And those first 2 weeks are magic. You're learning, you're excited, you're telling yourself, this is it, this is the thing. One of my sayings is, when the learning stops, the fun stops. Step 2. The boring middle part shows up. The initial rush fades, the learning curve starts to flatten, the work becomes repetitive. This is usually around day 10 to 14. And this is the moment where everything starts to fall apart. I love to learn, and when I feel like my learning is slowing down, that's when I begin to lose interest. Learning is one of my passions. Step 3. Your brain interprets boredom as a sign. It says if this was really your passion, you wouldn't feel this way. Passion is supposed to feel exciting. You're forcing it, so move on. Step 4. You quit. You tell yourself you're being smart, that you're self-aware, that you're not going to waste time on something that doesn't light you up anymore. And step 5. You feel lost again. The emptiness creeps back in, and within a few weeks or months, you'll find the next thing, and this whole cycle starts over. Long story short, I've lived this cycle more times than I can count. I dropped out of college because it didn't feel right. 2 years later, I went back. Was that actually a lack of passion, or was I just bored and had no guidance? Considering that it was my parents' choice for me to be there and not my own, I definitely felt a lack of passion and certainly did not care about the outcome. Nobody likes to feel like they didn't have a choice in the things they do. It feels purposeless, and without a purpose, we lack commitment and couldn't care less about the outcome. That's exactly why hobbies, careers, or exciting new things end so quickly. Trying new things is obviously not a bad thing. The problem isn't the trying, the problem is the quitting. Specifically, quitting at the exact moment when boredom hits, which is also the exact moment when most people quit. And that's not a coincidence. My own experiences have proved it to myself. So why do we do this? Why do millions of people, especially millennials and Gen Z, keep mistaking temporary boredom for a permanent lack of passion? I think there's 3 things at play. The first is social media. We scroll highlight reels of people who are living their passion, creators, entrepreneurs, artists, and we assume from day one it was all that exciting, but it wasn't. What you're seeing is someone who pushed through the boring middle parts months or even years ago and came out on the other side. You're watching the highlight, not the grind. Anybody who doesn't share the difficult parts of their careers or journey is either lying or selling something, and sometimes it's both. Second, there's this culture around the need to hustle. The idea of do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life is a complete lie. You'll work harder than you ever have. They sell you the romance and leave out the repetition and the boring middle part. It drives me up a wall when people sell you a false narrative of how much money you can make doing X thing, and when you're about to sign up for their coaching program because you're so hyped up, you finally see all the asterisks, the fine print, and the my results are not typical. The third thing is the dopamine loop. Novelty gives your brain a hit. Learning something new, starting fresh, and a blank canvas. That's dopamine. But mastery doesn't give you the same rush. Mastery is slow, incremental, and often boring to experience in real time. So your brain mistakes all of these boring things for meaningless things. It's not that you don't care about the thing, it's that your brain is basically a thrill seeker, and the boring middle part is, well, boring. Now, I'm not the arbiter of truth, nor do I have all the answers, but I've lived this cycle enough times to see the pattern. And once I saw it, I realized the problem was never that I lacked passion. The problem was that my expectations of what passion should feel like were completely wrong. At the same time, I don't want to swing too far the other way. Sometimes you genuinely should quit something. Not everything deserves your time. So how do you tell the difference between temporary boredom and genuine disinterest in something? There's a quick 2-question test we can use to figure this out. Question 1. Do I care about the outcome? If I genuinely want the result, if I care about what happens at the end of this, then what I'm feeling is probably boredom, not disinterest. Boredom means the process is hard right now, but the destination still matters. Disinterest means I don't care what happens either way. Question 2. If nobody ever saw the result, would I still do the thing? For most days, if nobody watched, if nobody paid me, if no external validation came, would I still show up? Let me give you a concrete example. This YouTube channel. My first few videos were well below 100 views for each of them. That's objectively boring. The process of scripting, filming, editing, and publishing to crickets, that's really not that exciting. But I care about the outcome. I care about helping people escape the 9-to-5, helping them build different income streams, and documenting my journey towards early retirement. For most days, if nobody watched, I'd still do some version of this work. That's how I distinguish between boredom and disinterest. So if the problem is boredom, and the boredom is inevitable, what can you actually do about it? The answer is frustratingly simple. You go deeper, not wider. Those people who succeed are not more passionate than you. They're not more talented. They're more patient with the boring parts. That's it. 2 years of mostly consistent effort on one thing will beat out 10 years of 6-month experiments every single time. Here's what I started doing. It's a simple 30-day rule. Pick one thing and give it 30 days of focused effort before you allow yourself to decide anything. Not 2 weeks, not until the excitement runs out. 30 days minimum. Again, most people quit between day 10 and day 14. We'll call it the boredom threshold. That's not a signal. That's just where the novelty wears off and the real work begins. If you can just stay in the game for 30 days, you'll have actual data to make a real decision instead of mistaking your boredom for disinterest and then running away from it. And here's where it ties back into money, because this channel is ultimately about financial freedom. The cycle of boredom, quitting, and restarting is expensive. You can't monetize a skill you abandon at the boring middle part. You can't build a business if you restart every 3 months. Think about a boat anchor. It's used to hold you down in place to make sure you don't float away. That's its main function. Anchor yourself in place to keep yourself put during the boring middle parts of your hobbies or career or whatever it is. However, at the same time, after you have gotten through the boring parts, you need to know if it's time to keep the anchor or to draw it back up and keep exploring the ocean to find better waters. Here's the thing. The traditional path has always been about consistency over passion. You go to school, get a job, work a 9-to-5 for 40 years, and retire at 65. Nobody ever asked if you were passionate about it. The system just rewarded showing up. But now, for people who want to escape that path, for people starting over at 30, or dealing with millennial burnout, or trying to build something outside the 9-to-5, we suddenly think that passion is the prerequisite. Like we need to be on fire every single day or we're doing it wrong. You don't need to be on fire. You need to be consistent. The difference between you and someone who escaped the rat race isn't that they found their passion and you haven't. It's that they pushed through the boring middle part of one thing long enough for it to start compounding. I'm 5 videos into this channel. Total views are barely in the triple digits. If I was waiting for passion to carry me through this stage, I would have quit after video 2. But I'm not doing it because it's exciting every single day. I'm doing it because I understand the difference now. I'm not going to let boredom trick me into quitting something that matters. Passions come and go, and boredom won't be forever. Don't give up on passion projects. Because once the boring stuff fades away, the real fun begins. Things will build up more, you'll finally start to see some results. What's one thing you're going to commit yourself to, regardless of what others think, no matter how boring some parts may be? Let me know in the comments. Suplex the subscribe button if you found the video helpful, and give it a like for the algorithm. It helps me out a ton. Thanks for watching. Peace.